Check 1, 2, 3. This is Beyer 160. This is mic number 2. This is the one with the problems and the blue tape. Check 1, 2, 3. This is from the front. Check 1, 2, 3. This is from the side. Check 1, 2, 3. This is from the front. Check re-ribboned M160. This is the blue tape mic. Sounds great. Got fidelity. Has low end. This mic sounds awesome. M160 OGMC modified, ribbons replaced. All right, let's see what we got here. We have a 160. It's a ribbon mic. It's blown. I've already removed this. Got to use a screwdriver. Got to use a hammer, rubber hammer. It's a jewelry hammer. And I'm gonna see what's wrong with it. I don't know yet. This is duct or masking tape, which is weird. I've never seen one with masking tape, so maybe this has already been repaired. Don't know. Let's check it out. So this mic is famous for Jimi Hendrix guitars, Led Zeppelin drums. Maybe it is real. Looks like the tape goes right under the basket here, so maybe it was installed that way. Looks like it's starting to come apart here. Let's just see what we got. I'll try to take it down to the bottom. See if I can pull it from the other side to grab it. It looks like it's getting in the little bit underneath. There's the little bit of the ribbon right there, if you can tell, whatever was hanging over the edge. Let's see if I can get this out from under there. It's always good to have an assortment of tools to kind of see if we can get in there, get that piece of tape out. I'd like to get it out. I want you to cooperate with me, tape. There it goes, a little bit. And like I said, this isn't really anything to do with the sound. It's just holding the top kind of little black rubber cap or hat on top of that. We'll have to put some tape on it back. I have the tape that goes on these. So if you're just tuning in, it's a Beyer M160, a newer version, I'm assuming. This comes from a buddy of mine. He had a pair. Definitely all the low end is kind of gone from this one. So I'm assuming either the top ribbon is busted or the bottom. It still makes a sound. Now this top part is a little bit, these don't necessarily come out easy. That rubber piece that's on is kind of with glued to the top. Kind of nasty sometimes, but we'll just have to clean it up after. I'm gonna put this foam down so I don't damage the head basket. These are really problematic. If you're gonna attempt to remove a 160, oh man, God bless you if you damage this or this ring comes off. It's incredibly difficult to get this to fit back in, which then you can put this back on and you glue it back on. But if that gets damaged or these screen little woven parts get pushed out, this whole thing kind of opens up and it's nearly impossible to get this ring back on the top. So when it's factory installed, it's excellent. And like I said, if you have a ribbon and it's busted and you don't have anything invested in it, you can experiment, but I don't recommend it. This one, these 160s that I've worked on quite a few. Some of the early ones were my own 160s. So when that happened, I had to figure out crazy ways to get this ring on top of this grill. So it's really difficult. So let's see if we can get this plastic piece off. Take that off of. Once again, you're not, I mean, this mic is already blown, so I'm not necessarily worried about damaging the ribbon by taking this off, but I definitely don't want to damage the microphone. So I'm getting a little bit of wiggle room in there. These are magnets on the top. I think these are neodymium. So it's literally glued on the top. Try the other side. You know, scratches or anything to it. This mic isn't my mic, so I am going to be as careful as possible. I do like to get these when they're already blown, and I'll buy them for my own studio, and I'm a little bit more fearless with removing this top piece. There it goes. So as you can tell, it's barely coming loose in this corner. There it goes. See all that goop? It's nasty. So this looks like it'll come off after that. There it goes. All right. Well, I can tell you right now, the top looks like it's caved in a little bit in the middle. Well, it's really bent. I don't know if you can tell. I'm pretty positive that's why this isn't working that well. Somewhere in the middle here, it looks a little bit not perfectly straight. Let's see if we can see that. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was the top ribbon or the bottom, but eyeballing it from my view, if this is the ribbon being straight, it looks like the ribbon, if this is the straight ribbon, it looks like it kind of curves and bows in the middle and then comes back in the edge. So it kind of goes out and goes down and then comes back up. That's what I'm seeing on the inside of this. Well, we're going to find out soon enough. So we just remove this top and we'll clean up all this glue and stuff off the top of it. That's just a screen to protect sound pressure from blowing this out. These ribbons are considered piston type ribbons, which they move up and down this way. Not if you were most ribbon mics, the ribbon would move like this. These ones move up and down. So that's why when the sound pressure hits it, you can have two. This has two ribbons. That's one set of screws for the bottom ribbon. That's one set of screws for the top ribbon. Really small, and you can tell that gap. These are the neodymium magnets. I said this is the magnets. I was misspoken on this. Those are the magnets. You can tell my screwdriver sticks to that. Really careful when you're replacing ribbons to get tools that don't stick to the magnets. For instance, I bought these ones. These must be aluminum, so I can work around the magnets and I don't have to worry about them, you know, diving into the ribbons and cutting them. So that's the top. We'll clean up all this stuff. And like I said, I make my own ribbons that will replace this, and my own ribbons will move like a piston, not forward and back. There's a lot of repair guys locally in the United States, some of the best ones here. They don't really believe in that it matters, so they'll just put a normal ribbon, which is totally fine. I do think these were made to embrace that technology of how they made them. And these microphones have a very, very killer sound for guitars, for drums. It's very focused, not very much you know, like an RCA 44 big ribbon mic. These are really incredible and really detailed. They got a nice forward mid sound, which may have to do with that ribbon. So little small brackets, and these are very almost like jeweler's screws. There's nothing Chinese about this, and I mean that in the sweetest way. It's very German engineered, exact, almost science. I don't know if you can see that. Super tiny screw. So I've already done a bunch of these, so I'm familiar with these. One, you don't want to lose these, but these top screws will be longer because they have to go through this bracket and that bracket. So the first ones you take off will be a longer screw, and then these bottom brackets will be a short screw going in. So you should have 4 long ones and 4 short ones. So as you're reassembling it, just get that in your brain. It's not going to work right if you do them the other way around. And also this first bracket I'll be removing. Underneath it, there's a very small, almost like filing for the ribbon. So when you reassemble it, you have to put that back on the right side. I don't want to lose this screw, so let's see if it's going to come off. There it goes. Well, that screw came off. So, like I said, this is the longer screws. So I have 2 longer screws. And this is the bracket that came off the top. Now, when it goes onto that ribbon, underneath it, you'll see that. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little file on the edge where they've kind of filed it down to make room for the ribbon. So that has to move. So if you're looking at placing this back, it would be like that, with the filing, of course, on the edge that goes over the ribbon. That's what I mean, like that's a cool detail. So looking at this, I'm gonna put it under a magnifying glass to see if I can see where the tear is. Sorry, I'm taking it out of your view. I see it being caved in the middle. So whatever happened to this mic, a sound pressure, whatever kicked it in, so it goes straight here, and then it kind of dives in low and then comes back up straight. So the center is pushed in, and since it doesn't sound good, I'm just gonna assume that that's probably pushing in on the bottom ribbon, which is gonna make this not work. I think that's part of the theory of why when they do it now and they re-ribbon it and they do it with traditional ribbons, I imagine that happening a lot more than this, because these ribbons move in another up and down, and traditional ribbons move back and forth. And putting 2 small ribbons next to each other that are moving back and forth, I think the sound pressure on the top would push it always into the back ribbon. Now I think some of those cats that do these and re-ribbon them, they probably put a little extra gauze or something to keep that sound pressure from happening and pushing the ribbons into the other ribbon. So I don't know if you're going to get the full sound, but here's another example of that bracket. So this is underneath it, and as you can tell, that's the top, which looks normal, no filings. And the bottom, you can see, hopefully see that. It's a little bit of a groove cut in that. And that's what is going to sit there, and the ribbon's going to be over there. So when this clamps down, that ribbon has room to wiggle, as you can see. So now I've removed both the brackets. I'm looking inside. I can see, I don't know if you can see that, you can see a little bit of that cave in the middle. That's pretty intense. Well, no matter what, these 2 ribbons are coming out. There's no way to really save these. I could try to somehow, keep these ribbons, but like I said, I don't know what had happened to these, and even if you saved them and reinstalled them, there's just a good chance it's not going to be any better. It's nearly impossible in the United States to get one of these ribbons to replace them, because Beyer doesn't give anyone these ribbons, and when these go bad, they just rip these off, throw them away, and they give you a new one because they're factory installed, which is a little bit sad. It'd be really cool to get a surplus of some old ribbons, but there are a few guys in the United States that have those ribbons, and you'll just have to pay some extra money. So somewhere in the world there was a Beyer dealer that maybe stopped being a Beyer dealer, and he's got a bunch of 160 ribbons, which would be like finding a pirate's treasure of wonderful ribbons. And I would recommend, if you can find someone that has the real ribbons, maybe if you got some 1960s or 1970s real 160s, that would be your best scenario. You pay the extra money, you have that tech install the original ones, and you basically are able to preserve and keep your Beyer 160s as close as you can to the original. Now when I rip that one off, I can see, I don't know if you can see it, the ribbon is a little bit popped off right there. I don't know if you can see that. So they're kind of spring-loaded, and yeah, this one on top, I'm gonna say probably is the bad one. There. So looking at that one, it is, I can see it being damaged. There's two little rips on the side where it looked like it caved in. And all right, so we have the ribbon out. That's the top one. That's the top ribbon. They just bent it to show you. Now here's what's crazy. That is so thin, but it actually is so rigid. I mean, look at that. Straight up and down. That tells you how great Beyer does these ribbons. Most normal ribbons would fold and buckle, but these are incredibly rigid. They're corrugated, really tough. It's thin, but they're able to make it so it's durable, and that's part of the sound. So there's still one more inside, and like I said, I'm not really interested in salvaging these, because once again, I don't know technically what that top one did by folding into the bottom one, and it's a waste of time for me to go through and put in a ribbon and then have it not sound good, and then I have to start the process all over again. So I'd rather just replace this. My ribbon mods that I do on these, you know, I'm not going to make any claim out there that what I do is necessarily better sounding than what a normal ribbon would have, but from my guitars and my amps, I think I get a little bit more low end. They just sound a little bit fuller. And technically, I'm not copying exactly their type of ribbon, but I had designed a ribbon, a piston style ribbon, that happens to fit in this mic that's really close, and it still keeps it to the I'm still loyal to the Beyer styles. I'm not, you know, but I think I really lucked out. I think I really made a design that not only lends itself well for replacing these 160s, but they actually sound, to me, a little bit more fidelity, kind of more opened up. That's neither bad nor good, but I would share that with you. So I want to make sure that I'm good on my end. So I should have 4 small ones here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 small ones, and then I should have 4 long ones. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 long ones. Then I should have 2 small brackets. There's 1, And there's 2. And 2 long ones. There's 1 and there's 2. So you want to make, and it sounds ridiculous, but you gotta make sure you have all your parts, because I don't think there's anywhere in the United States you're gonna find that unless you go to a jewelry store or some kind of repair shop and see if you can have them make you one, which would be insane. So I have to get that ribbon out of there. I can see it now. There's once again in the middle, there's a little bit of a dip in there where some kind of sound pusher hit the top ribbon and pushed it into the bottom ribbon. And since those are so rigid, for that thing to buckle in the middle is probably where it went wrong. That is a Beyerdynamic 160 ribbon right there. Look at that. Crazy. Just sadly that this is wrong. I have to repair it, but it is so cool. Look at how rigid that is. Stands straight up. You talk about some engineering there, how they figured that out. How did I figure that out? Well, like I said, there's no saving these bad boys once you've opened them up, so you might as well just follow through with, take them out the best you can. So there it is. It's all gone. That was a 160. This is the remaining part of the ribbon. Beautiful, even in being destroyed. But this ribbon mic, so you know, wasn't working. The artist had 2 of them. We A/B'd them, double checked them. This one definitely didn't have any low end, and it almost sounded like an AM radio. So something had gone foul in this. There's not a lot that can go wrong with these, in all honesty. There's just a transformer inside and these ribbons, and the wires go straight from the ribbon down to the transformer. So after I turn this off, what I'll be doing is just basically cleaning up all this. I'll be installing 2 more ribbons in the top, piston style, so they'll be, you know, moving in the fashion they were designed. And then I'll be checking it on my studio rig to make sure I have a wonderful 160 to compare it to, and I'll be listening for the fidelity. And in all honesty, if you had 7 160s, they're all gonna sound really different. And I don't know what that is. It's like there's a blonde, there's a brunette, you know, there's a black-haired one. They all got their own characters, which are very lovely. But you play with your favorites. The one I have that I personally love of my own has a lot more mid-range and top, so if I have a really dark amp, that works great for it. I have another one that had super amount of low end that if I use that on a kick drum, or I mean, not a kick drum, a drum set overhead, it really fulfills that wonderful ribbon sound. Well, we'll test this one and we'll get it back to the artist. I'm sure he'll be really happy with it. And that is taking apart a 160 and checking the ribbon. Not recommended for the, I don't want to say the novice. What I do isn't necessarily anything special, but because I have a recording studio and I've accepted the fact of getting a few of these that were busted and learning how to work around some of the things that would destroy these, I have a little bit more confidence working with one. I would not buy a brand new one that's functioning to take the ribbon out. I would just wait till you blow it or something happens, or go online and find one that's already blown and then experiment with inserting your own ribbons inside. This ribbon is so small, so that learning how to cut a ribbon that small took a lot of time and practice to get it so not only it fits in there, but then it works. And it's rigid enough to hold it like this. All those things are variables in ribbons, and I would recommend not attempting this one till you've done a few standard ribbons, and then you've learned how to handle the ribbon, and then learn how to cut it this small to fit in there. And the process of removing these caps without destroying the ribbon cage, which once again will be nearly impossible to get it together. I know guys that do this for a living and the dread and the nightmare is this to come undone, and you're just kind of screwed, and it's not going to be a pretty repair. So I do these out of love of ribbons, and it's exciting for me to fine-tune the ribbon. I have my own ribbon mic company I'll be starting called the Original Gravity Wave Microphone Company, or for short, OGMC. And I have my own mic design that I'll be using a double ribbon, but it will not be of a Beyer design like this. It'll be in a different transducer. My ribbon's probably going to be a little bit bigger than this one, but I'm using kind of the technology. So I would be nothing without the 160 being the Darth Vader, and I'm Luke of my ribbon mics. So to the Darth Vader of ribbons, you will see music soon, and I'm excited that this came apart pretty good. There you go.